and nsɛmsia ubenya mu ntire mu.
Abusafo, on the 6th of August 2025, Ghana yanti asem there is a helicopter ko crash here. Emani pa nwotwe mpanifo nwotwe efimu nyakopon fo mu nyina kra ensie. Eno my president set up an investigative team so mo hwehwem the cause of the helicopter crash. The leader of the investigative team, Captain Richard Porfojo, or the finance no at Ghana for any name. I have to make use of my physics and mission I was school. As I'm a science student. Mission science was Pokuwari school. Big shout outs to all OWA students. I'm Mohemi. Past and present this year, National Science and Maths quiz. I'm the away and in I'm hoping say next year OWAS it be the first. You know, Captain Richard Porfojo and some other to do and those baby name bonnet offer. Am I in a year? The man a helicopter no a crash here. And that would crash me. Don't forget to click on the subscribe button or any comments be. I'm sure. Baba video na si fefe with him that has say and I simply see out when you move. So the helicopter uses Newton's third law of motion, and it didn't do much. Say only two equilibrium. Newton's third law no it states that every action has the equal and opposite reaction. Nina say the rotors no say a shine say ya that is the actioner. A shine say no that is a PM from ma. Ebema a helicopter no apija akosro. And to share this particular picture, the action of the rotors no with speeder. Nina enwine no ayemfama and the apia ecoform. Iti enwine no that is a pian from mana chise. E wo form na kopem say a helicopter no ebe kosro. It uses Newton's third law of motion and the use physics. And the helicopter the rotors no airwine no PM from akofom ama helicopter akoso na dia ni besi ama helicopter all of a sudden abla che say APM from ani na wa si che say ekoso no ebe ma helicopter no all of a sudden ebe tiaba form to the level afi ebe crash na to form and I say ebe kwakobo bibi manu na the investigative team omo finance omo de brae no na che say bad weather and I say from a boni bi a fire on that day and the cause of the accident. You ready and sempotia the two years. And you know, the cause of a helicopter crash and accident, almost the investigations determined that the accident was caused by the sudden loss of altitude and lift due to downdraft. You take note of the word downdraft. This loss of altitude without change in power or pitch altitude is consistent with downdraft associated with changing environmental conditions over high terrain. And to share the cause of the helicopter crash now, that is almost say a sudden loss of altitude and I say lift due to downdraft. Now yes, you know, it can share a helicopter a faswa it took us through. Not just say you should the Newton's third law of motion meka no into abrache say rotors no airwine no a generate and from maybe just a bit pushy and from my form no na eno no you describe no as downwash into abrache say helicopter and rotors no airwine say preparing to lift no if a man na helicopter na se no na just say downwash na kwakodu so no and from a bone be due to weather changes it may be pia helicopter no be pia helicopter no abrache say rotors no airborne in frama no sa and from a fufuri because of sudden change in weather no be pia helicopter no ko form it will helicopter no tiba form na che say elusu ne lift sa frama no and downdrafter a investigative team no say sa weather no the change in weather no ma downdraft pushy the helicopter mani lusu ne lift eba form, and when that happens, the only result is a eba form an accident. See. So now there are two types of inframa when the helicopter is involved: the downwash and the downdraft. That is a downwash no inframa after said the rotors no airwine no sa inframa na a properly helicopter no emaninya lift emani koso no. Yes, I said there no that is downwash. And now because of changes in weather, serious weather, a strange weather be because of weather changes, and from a helicopter no so money tiba form loosen the lift, money beshe form no. That is downdraft. Yankai. Downwash is the air pushed downward by the rotor blades or airplane wings as they create lift. Key points there, it is controlled airflow generated intentionally by the rotor or wing. It happens directly beneath or below the helicopter or wing. It's part of normal flight physics. Without it, the helicopter can't stay up. And a downdraft, I can want to say, but almost say a downdraft is a column of air moving downward through the atmosphere, usually caused by weather like storms, microbursts, or turbulence. Key points here. It is not created by the helicopter. It comes from nature or environment. It can be dangerous, pushing an aircraft down unexpectedly. Downdrafts occur in thunderstorms, mountain winds, or microbursts. Not just say, and then you know the difference between a downdraft and a downwash. Downdraft, you know, and then from a bonnie, just say a helicopter no ekotom because of a changes in weather areas no ekotoma na push helicopter no amanaba form. Na after say findings ne ba bontin a say omo share to the public no question a man for bizan say na bibia ni a helicopter ni mu a ebe prompt omo amomo hu say baby omo ko no bossy area ho no they can go and meet a different weather condition bi a say downdraft no ebe push a helicopter no. The answer is no. According to a Captain Retired Paul Fojo, see a terrain awareness system a helicopter, modernized helicopters omo ko baby a prompt a pilot no na so mo ye adwuma wo plane nim no omo say no baby a ye ko no yes ayeti anase yentinsi form whether no ye hu say downdraft no ebetimi akose a helicopter no ama na losing the left abehwe form ama ye wo nyina afiri mu see there be nebi nim.
The helicopter that was flying up without any change in its power or in the pitch which we use to go up and down suddenly lost height and impacted a ridgeline at about 1370 feet above sea level, and this was about 6.5 miles from the destination, and this happened at 9:58. Now to our findings. The helicopter was airworthy, but it lacked additional safety enhancements. For instance, the terrain awareness warning system. Now, you know, the terrain awareness warning system, for instance, is predictive. So what it does is it tells you, warns you, it gives you a better picture of the situation and puts the pilots in puts them in a position to make better judgments, to be able to see everything and be able to foretell if there are any things that could possibly create a problem. But they lack the additional safety enhancements required for the weather phenomenon over that terrain. There was adverse weather, there was limited visibility, there was rising rugged terrain. With this terrain induced complicating factors, and there were no ground-based navigational route aids en route. The investigation would like to say that from everything they gathered, the emergency response was very timely. It was raining, it was slippery, so it wasn't the easiest thing to do. When we went to the site, it was also raining and it was very slippery, and we struggled using sticks and everything to try to get up there. So looking at everything, we would say very confidently that the emergency response was very timely. The investigation determined that the accident was caused by the sudden loss of altitude and lift due to downdraft. This loss of altitude without change in power or pitch altitude is consistent with downdraft associated with changing environmental conditions over high terrain.
It may recommend the government of Ghana say a modernized helicopter. It's an Zina we know maybe name. And a security expert and an international relations expert. Papa if na Farouk Awahab or see on no we tie and some much say findings, you know, and the cause of accident. Name and one was say Ghana has say meteorologists be breed na waha manfo mo hwe wiem mutimi be ka se o china nso beto awia ebebo wa ha ene mframa befa wa ha enti mo ntimi am prompte eye pilot ni mo ye adwuma at that time no say no obwase ho na mokọ no obitima wa kohia weather condition bi a downdraft no ebe push a helicopter no amana ba form enti ne Farouk our hub ultimately say oh no or the questions to ask them share investigative team na ara ko pa say nipa nwotwe and 42 and watwe makes you ask yourself say could this accident and as a helicopter crash can it me avoid there na san say ara we need a better helicopter as soon as possible, trust me. Ekoti ensema aye Farouk our hub attitude.
National relations expert.
See, thank you also to the US team that joined us for a period of the investigation. The Chinese.
Na sanya Facebook phone bi ebusebusa say papa no dey report no can report no aden a beach side na pressure fan side beach side said the buo fuel na yedni na be mama brese mu no enti yankọ ahoma no so na ye bebo ntofa kakra pa na asemu ba ye international relations expert Farouk Wahab ya nua wa bin wa mansan mu pa otu kwan de bia wonam wiem ni adade a eta ne na adwene komo ya pase ekọ no sesi an ekote bibi me professor no prof me akwa ba
Kojo mi jo so what to say
ya ho ya pa Ghana for say ayi international relations professor wo kira de ma dadodo sesi a de aba beduro nie na nsa na omunya ma no aka ho asem say report na de papa yi nsem obobo so ni mood kra wo ma de presentation Farouk wo hu ni sen
Kojo my TV 5-10 minutes be I'm sorry to say sir inshallah nya homeka because the report now dey ba no the highlights ni na business aspect of it recommendation Ghana Air Force would acquire me a new, they have to acquire modern aircraft, they have to acquire this, they have to do this. Yet more of his recommendations. It so does not imagine you the yet suggest the full-fledged answers of the accident is what to me our dema. One, but you say who can say there was no tracking. Air traffic control could not track, and there was no surveillance of the aircraft to forewarn them of baby not Omoko and rock terrain. It means the whole country is in jeopardy. One aircraft it will dream. For whichever reason, so no crime lose the balance as a result of the no general can say omuni your friend is saying awareness, a modernized awareness tracking system on the aircraft. And so what was the air traffic control doing in the air? What was the Kumasi air traffic control doing? Couldn't they have? Because they are not meeting in another so because if you are that they are better matter there. Or because the aircraft lost touch.
So metie no pa because me we translate actually your audience nti wa moso technical words be am picking wa ha there was no flight data monitoring system so it lacked some safety enhancement the weather was misty and there was no weather report to the pilot
because you pilot were you trained now category C and Ghana highest or armed forces you now quarter plane not in the BR or you're professional flying in the air or for the last 10 years now the catcher men in Ghana for laymen and women say flight na no team no. There was no recorder. Now, if there was no flight recorder na black box no, and then some information I will no, a recommendation, mere recommendation, and to findings now so no. The findings emanated and I say originated and I say magically conjured from a infant. The flight recorder, voice recorder, the FVR no, and no seen the be flight in and a pilot data recorder no. She may be in the flight. They will connect us. We must as well throw it away. We might as well, we should as well as throw it away because then again, you're only basing on arguments, assumptions, and I say presumptions in our demand report.
Having mentioned all these things, Nana, any way mono, Papa Sacher said that the helicopter was airworthy.
Worthy. What kind of joke is that? Flight airworthy, it comprises of everything. Now, remember, we said the flight on the ground or any checklist and sign OT and sign air traffic control man OT. Into night goggles, I said bad weather goggles. Our flight in and air traffic control, a man through the checklist, a man it and no flight, pilot, no air traffic control. Say, this machine I'm sitting in front. The machine is not equipped with weather awareness instrument. A machine that has the presence and the of all defense minutes. The machine is not equipped with modernized, as he termed it, modernized flight control data systems. Machine now, defense minister and state high-profile officers, including 3 officers at Timono. Some machine, you say, are certified now or that equipment in case. Now they're working. Young Koto modern one, Kojo Z9. A French for a Chinese said the air cano. Before the having a Chinese for the plane. A Chinese for licensed aircraft. The aircraft now, your friend is 9. A 365 Dolphins. French for. It is Z9 o'clock. A use China for a French for license. A French phone a certified machine and a Chinese for its maton. For your information. A French phone a license and having for some machine we say between machine will eat me tongue. A 3 penny will be assay. America phone will CH Chinook. And a French for 365 Dolphin. And a China for Kotor license. Your friend, license, every Airbus. At that time, near helicopter. Helicopter for a year flight, a man a license and the Chinese for. Into the papa came. Could you who said, so China airworthy only flight data control. And now also there was a mention of said the machine he could not see whatever. Now me pass say flight in a museum no Ghana Air Force for any air traffic control. It's no machine in no more. After that, me sure baby has a flight time. And your woman a report to military for and a report is a flight now quite either. Because you know some kind.
Aye.
And the flight in a no. I wanted you on can once and then I make back angel for normally the leaders of this news in this this crash. Say, what you mean can't change a flight in either? The flight now could do the destination. In the flight in a Messi and I was some the mere shows of Papanaka.
Because our crowd question say, we share time no plane no 2 year any number of hours and son on Babakasa plane I ran crowd no crowd now just a hokra no na there were so many questions to be answered.
It's questionable. And I feel so idea could do Papa no sabi. Ghana, you go one must Sa Papa we had to make Ghana for say. The rescue operations, it was very tiny, the word he used. It was very tiny. Now timing, papa get my catcher say, yeah, you can say we were using sticks. Na can't travel Air Force. When you go to Dixon Assassin, or Air Force. For any paratroopers and then your friends saying flight airborne officers into airborne for when man for plane I'm a same I'm an airborne for entity. Now we can't just say yes 6 we have to end it is slippery. These are what is called social illustrations. Yakibida. We don't need social illustrations. We need I come Mr. President so no me aden ka emubi mbomu janra emubi e kan say se ko ba se ye nya fali so fosu kwachi honorable ne be gina ontimi memma report on this. Chief of Staff in Team Memma report. Even His Excellency John Mama, His Excellency, every just one of my report, I catch some Mbungu. Because the country not go beyond a year. Country not go beyond, say I establish a fund, Ediama victims or more a family. Country not go beyond so breaking news officially. When it comes to the report, the data report, I was looking at set. And quiet introduction on near Peja Ubia Soriginal. I am the Z9 because China for the prefer Obaki comes from the because on a small machine, on another machine, we are then your business. It's an accident to machine. Now we have investigation. Now the technical, technical. Because you sign your money any aircraft in Muno. At this time, I car. Now it be a mechano. A brand new car, but Michelle. Na eyin them jacking them but jacking them men call Toyota manufacturer men call Ford for na men call jacka na meto jack dia tum sa equipment no kan wenim no this say ye koto ye no ye busa say we can etio common guns I told my Ghana military Ghana police near there then now, which have been a consultant that the Scorpion Ghana police as the lead consultant. Besides a mope boggles at the CISO and as a mope SYZ so for sniping. Very easy access and then also when you point shooting a direction.
Baby, I'm not Papa no crack say. Before say a helicopter no ba betu no one brief pilot no whether a situation say ensu ato anase bia e bosie ana de boss wo anya bi no answer etu ya de ho no so no institution bi ba be yi anu ana for example bia Ghana Meteorological Agency e wono was e question ebu ho ana
yeah na kwakwadwe meteorological department also part of the air traffic control monitoring meteorological. And now pilot. Nana said, we are causing financial harm to the state. And he said, pilot to know access or any checklist. Which make a share meteorology. At the top tower, no say, we need any surveillance gadget instrument to determine and to be able to navigate through rough terrain. No after ministers, no after Nipanumatum, na Air Force one momaka. Me share Air Marshal. Na me share said Air Marshal of Ghana. Our first General Bonabeti. He's supposed to be the person. Then can you penti musano? Na journalists alcohol. Say inquire selective justice as to when I wouldn't be question because it could be rehearsed. There's a technical man, technical journalist here, then he's trying to bastardize and useless the existence of Ghana Air Force. There shouldn't be any Air Force because they all cannot say with that delay immediately enter machine. The patrol machine here got American 40 C67, C47, and I say you got Dolphins direct. And I say same Z9 here got means invoice about switching. Invoice about switching. Invoice about switching. The ban is also an immediate agenda, no procurement rules. So you're ready there. So
that is some of the element of urgency. Ebe udom na ya sumsika na omudia kwa kwotro.
They will preaching county findings and higher recommendation. They can recommend they say the country Ghana Air Force does not need Z9. But you say, to see in Z9. Near who baby are all can. Because that military Z9, I have French foreign alliances in China having no me, a Eurocopter, Airbus for more yen. Because your machine, a prototype, a perform helicopter job, and a sub perform jets. But there's something I know, and your aircraft, and we've been to mechanics them is there. Aircraft, set up a pencil can. So I have that, and a near minimum. The main person machine say. Aircraft, most of them, no, the older it becomes, the airworthy that it comes. Because then I help kill them for the Baha. Because in a year, it be in 6 time after 2 hours. Are you aware? Or this free Accra, ever do Amsterdam, or this free and or free Mommy machine air cost Sydney, not Sydney. Who says plane? Plane engine, a year week to that extent. No, because the Z9, because you jet, you load bombs, you load air fighting. What you fighting? In the Saira, I said the Macane Dano, it took 4.5 hours. Plane fuel, and one country as a fuel Nisa. Now, remember, I said, Papa is explaining, apart from say, the weather was rough. I see trying to down. I said, on that very day, flights and two. On that very day, flights and over that belt. Is that the rough terrain and the rough weather? Zina, I encounter. Zina encounter weather. Not the mama and then the wife team. Oh, Kumasa Patapa. Or the sea form. Zina encounter problem. Air weather. Oh, your friends, the Western region or the sea form. It's when everyone is saying, the Papa Kenya does not answer what some of us are looking for.
Yo, now I see our hand Farouk Al Wahab, international diplomatic consultant.